From the outset, we've said that the focus for 2016 would be on the complexity of the narratives, the multiple narratives. The view of some of the historians and the academic community that were around in 1966 or have studied 1966 would say that it was singular, triumphalist, male, militaristic, and there wasn't room for many different voices. Well, 1916 was a pivotal year in our history, but for me 1916 is synonymous with the centenary year of 2016, having been involved in putting together the programme. So it's been a great year, and I've learned a huge amount as a non-historian about our history and about the multiple narratives and multiple stories underpinning the Irish historical experience, which is really what we've tried to bring to the fore in the 2016 centenary programme. Well, it's been a great privilege to be involved in it, and the thing about it is, and when people ask me what it's about, to me the centenary programme there's two defining characteristics when I look at how we've put it all together. One is a sense of ambition, is that all of the organisations involved really want their thing, whatever it is, to be great. And it could be the Century Ireland website, the UCD conferences, it could be the TV shows, whatever the various things are. But people realise that if they're going to make it great, they have to collaborate with other people. So that ambition is only realised through collaboration. There's great lessons for us within that. So the sense of ambition has been strong, but also a sense of collaborative and collegiality, that a lot of organisations working together. So even around Easter weekend, we had a team with the Síochána, the Defence Forces, Dublin City Council, RTE, Fáilte Ireland, and right the way through the emergency services and all of the various bodies that just pull together as one big, strong team. So it's great to be part of that. At the start of when the centenary team was put together first, and the Taoiseach announced the initiative, it was a very, I suppose, greeted with a fair degree of mixed reaction. There was a lot of concern. This is a very tricky space because really centenary and 1916, it's all wrapped up in identity and who we are. And so it became, initially the political system wasn't all aligned behind it. The academic community weren't particularly enthralled with the approach. The media weren't entirely supportive. So you had quite a challenging environment. But I think, so that was, in some ways, it was a difficult place to start the project. But I think the more the organisations that really got on board and the programme is made up of, it's a collection, it's a curated programme of lots of other organisations coming together, be that the third level sector, the creative sector, the cultural sector, and under the leadership of the expert advisory group, which has been very strong, setting the tone, setting the narrative, and strong leadership from across the Oireachtas All-Party Committee of all the parties. And when people saw the buy-in and engagement from the communities around the country, it really was positive. So yeah, it did have a tricky start, but thankfully people very much got on board and came together very well in the end. From the outset, we've said that the focus for 2016 would be on the complexity of the narratives, the multiple narratives. The view of some of the historians and the academic community that were around in 1966 or have studied 1966 would say that it was singular, triumphalist, male, militaristic, and there wasn't room for many different voices. This time out, we were very strongly of a view that we had to bring as many people as possible into the debate. So, for example, the role of women was something we really focused on and highlighted, and that's been a big positive of the year. Also, the role of the various people for the Ulster, for example, and a lot of people from Ulster who were involved, and Ulster nationalism, Ulster unionism. There's been debate, there's been conferences we've been involved in related to that as well. And also a big factor is that we said that all lives are of equal value. And if we're going to truly honour the vision of the proclamation in 2016, we have to demonstrate that. And that has been manifested itself through, for example, in Glasnevin Cemetery, we have a memorial wall for all the victims of 1916. And even and we've had ceremonies for the children of 1916, for they've lost their lives. We've had ceremonies for all the various groupings. The relatives, of course, and the rebels have put very strongly projects behind. There have been with their involvement, but also the British Army. In Grange Gorman, we had a ceremony for the British Army. So those, I suppose, complexities have been very much a part and parcel of what we've done. And it's been very important because the north of Ireland, last time in 1966, was excluded from the programme, and this time out we were very keen to involve them in a way that they felt appropriate, and I think there's a real sense of inclusion and respect as a consequence. They were brilliant insofar as they set the tone, the agenda, the narratives, and particularly that notion of the multiplicity of narratives that underpinned the Irish historical experience. That was a line that we continued to focus on. So the expert advisory group set the agenda, but also were a brilliant sounding board for ideas. And from time to time, if we needed direction and if we needed people to make calls on different initiatives that were coming up, they were always ready. So much so even down to when we worked with Google and Street View and the various cultural institutions to create this Google 1916, the expert advisory group actually signed off all of that work. And through on post stamps and so on. But mostly really they've been both informally and one-on-one level, but also as a formal body has been a hugely beneficial, and people are very happy to know that there's a group of experts looking and advising on this. It has, to an extent, that when I'm not a student of history per se, although I've obviously studied history in school like everybody else, but I also grew up during the Troubles, and 1916 wasn't a particular focus for us in school. Also, the iconography attached to 1916 became attached to a lot of other things over the years. So it's not something that I had spent a lot of time looking at or studying. Or what it has done, there's so many stories and so much pride and so much genuine interest in it around the country, and the human stories. And we people said this is just a Dublin thing initially. It's not. It's every county has their stories and different people involved in different ways. And there's great pride, great intrinsic pride in what's happened. So it's been a real eye-opener to learn all about that. And it's been democratization of history. And one of the big positives in that regard has been the role of culture within this. The cultural institutions, the cultural community, arts council and so on, creating music, song, drama to animate it for people has been fantastic. I think there's a number of things. We have said from the outset that it was the year would be remember, reflect, reimagine. Three, not perfectly sequential, but three different source energies, if you like, for the year. So we are very much, the main heavy lifting of the year is completed. The big commemorative time is past. The highlight would have to be Easter weekend, where you had a real 3-act play, along with lots and lots and lots and lots of other things happening that weekend. The first of all, the parade itself was this enormous sense of nationhood and pride and intrinsic pride that people felt that this was, really strong moment for the country, epic almost in quality. And then secondly, reflecting the rising, where you had 750,000 people on the streets of Dublin engaging, talking, lectures, and very much the sense of citizenship, that this is a country we're part of, we're citizens of this country. And then the third act was that evening in the Burgosh Theatre for the centenary, the TV broadcast that we put together with RTE, and that was a real sense of celebration. For the first time, Ireland over the last 100 years has been painted for the people, and it's a tricky story, and it landed very well. So that was a real highlight. Another, I suppose, thing is the two other things that stand out. One is Proclamation Day, which started life, and people were wondering would it work at all. It was a huge success and massive engagement with it. And also I felt myself personally around the day we unveiled in Glasnevin the memorial wall to all the victims was a big moment for the country, that we said all lives are of equal value. I thought that was very, very important. Then overall, in reflecting on the year, there's really three key themes that are coming through. In addition to the pride and the citizen, the collaboration and all of the things that happened, which was fantastic. The three themes that are strongly come through. One is the whole sense of citizenship. What does it mean to be a citizen of a republic? It means to be active citizenship, taking part in your society, taking part in your community, getting involved in stuff, just coming up with ideas or attending events and so on. And that's been one of the great takeouts of the year, huge social capital built up right around the country. volunteerism and so on. The second big theme is identity. The symbols that have come really strongly into focus this year: our flag, Óglaigh na hÉireann, our army, the institutions of the state, and really help people identify with the country we are. And the third issue is culture, that the role culture plays to really make the glue that makes it all happen for people. So there are three themes that we're really going to explore for the rest of the year: citizenship, identity, and culture. But it's been a remarkable year and an unexpected year, and it's been such a privilege to be part of it.